Welcome to yet another edition of the Full Force News Burst, brought to you by GeneralsJoes Reborn.com, with me as your host, Chris. A storm is brewing McLeod, aka Diagnostic 80, but it's probably something I ate. Joining me today to talk about the news that Andrew Koji is in talks to play the role of Storm Shadow in the upcoming G.I. Joe Snake Eyes movie is Justin. Didn't see that one coming, Bell. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this news burst. The casting news is flooding in now as the actor famous for the TV series Warrior, Andrew Koji, has been chosen for the role of Storm Shadow in the upcoming G.I. Joe Snake Eyes movie. The Wrap exclusively broke the news earlier today, which means not only do we know who will be the famous white costumed Cobra and later Joe faction ninja, but we can also assume Henry Golding will definitely be cast as Snake Eyes now, as so many articles had suggested over the past few weeks. As I mentioned a moment ago, Koji is famous for his role as Arsam in the TV series Warrior, as well as appearances in American Gods, The Innocents, and UK TV shows such as Call the Midwife, Casualty, and The Wrong Mans. Koji joins fellow British actor Golding for the film so far, and with the Baroness soon to be cast, we are starting to get an overall idea of the team so far. Justin, how do you feel about this piece of casting news?
Well, I will admit right up front, I haven't seen a whole lot of what Andrew Koji has been in, so I can't vouch for his acting ability, but I do, I mean, the fact that casting news is coming, you know, fast and furious is very, very cool. And, you know, just kind of looking at him as an actor, I think, you know, he certainly looks the part and fits the part, and I think could work really well. I
managed to catch a glimpse, thanks to His Tank for posting a clip of Warrior on their story when they kind of talked about it afterwards. But I mean, the clip they showed, he looked amazing. Like, you know, proper martial artist.
Beautiful.
Really, like, solid choreography in the particular clip they showed. And the dude is ripped. So, like, I mean, he is in... I mean, he's, again, like you said, he's probably the perfect Storm Shadow in this situation. He looks the part. I think he'll do a really good job as well. It appears like, you know, he's got a lot of acting credentials. Nothing like crazy, you know, standout-ish, but the Warrior seems to be the kind of most prominent thing he's in at the moment.
Yeah, that's great. And sometimes that's what you want to go for. I mean, because you want to find an actor that will work for the role, but isn't going to break the bank. And a lot of times, you know, everybody's got to get their start somewhere. So you got to try to find these guys that have had lots of quality supporting roles, haven't maybe broken out quite yet, but, you know, have some of the skills and things like that to kind of do what you're looking for. And I'm looking forward to checking out that clip you mentioned. I've been on the road all day, so I haven't had a chance to really dig too deep, but I would like to check that out because I do still have this little fascination with martial arts films and shows, so I'd love to see kind of how he does his thing.
You'll be impressed.
Awesome.
Hopefully you'll get to see that before I finish the edit of this video, because you'll be watching it on that instead. But, no, he again, like, he looks really good for this particular role, I think, personally.
Awesome.
And also, with that being said, obviously with him being cast as Storm Shadow, it means that Henry Golding is more than likely going to be Snake Eyes. So you know, I mean, a lot of platforms that, you know, I'll throw my hands up. I did suggest early on that I thought Henry Golding may have been up for the Storm Shadow part. That is obviously not the case now. So unless he's another character, which I very much doubt, unless he's like the Hard Master or the Soft Master or any of the Masters, then, or Scarlet, he could be Scarlet. You never know.
Oh yeah, that could work. That could work. You need the red wig, but besides that,
exactly.
Good to go.
But I mean, you know, obviously now that we know that, are you happy with that situation? I mean, personally, from my point of view, I can see it as it's a pretty strong duo we've got going on for Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow so far. But but what are your thoughts on that? Yeah,
you know, I've been thinking about it a little more and more, and I know initially, you know, I kind of brought up the fact that Snake Eyes being an outsider to the Arashikage clan was kind of a big part of his character, and I do still think that's the case, but I don't see any reason why that can't still happen in film form with Golding being the actor. That I think that could still work. So, you know, I was never truly bothered by it much in the first place, but I've become even less and less bothered by it as days have gone on. And Golding is, by all accounts, you know, a pretty quality actor. You know, is a somewhat emerging star in Hollywood, and I think makes real good sense as kind of a main leading character for the Snake Eyes film franchise. So, you know, it still remains to be seen, you know, whether or not they're going to want to take an up-and-coming popular actor like that and put a black mask on him for an extended period of time. But I mean, that's a worry for the future. Let's focus on the Snake Eyes film right now, and I think he could be certainly a good choice for that.
The thing that Paramount and Hasbro can like work with now is the fact that after this film, and presumably when the mask stays on, you don't need to see his face ever again. So
True.
It could be anybody under that mask,
Right.
couldn't it? I mean, and then you just have the stunt actor, or you have Ray Park come back in to do it, or something.
Exactly.
I mean, it's clear this movie will start completely fresh. Do you feel confident of a decent film this time around, or do you still have concerns over Paramount's ability to deliver?
You know, I'll always have some concerns. It's a thing where you got to kind of, prove it to me. You know, I mean, you've had two opportunities to prove it, and you haven't quite done it yet. But I'm hoping maybe starting smaller and more focused, and maybe with a renewed attention to quality. You know, they haven't come out and made that statement in regards to the G.I. Joe film as they did with Bumblebee previously, but it does seem like their mentality is shifting that way.
Yeah.
And if it truly is, and they are really trying to take some time with it and do it right, then I feel quite a bit better about it. But yeah, I'll have to wait until I kind of see it in action. You know, once we start seeing maybe set films or set photos and movie trailers and stuff like that, I'll start feeling a little bit better about it. And I'm excited regardless. I mean, it's going to be a G.I. Joe film on the big screen, so by default, that makes me pretty excited. But hopefully, I reserve judgment until we start seeing some stuff in action, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Yeah, totally. And also, we mentioned recently, of course, the Baroness has been, they started kind of the casting work, as it were, for that. And I had a thought the other day watching Wu Assassins. And I used to watch Vikings as well back in the day. And Catherine Winnick stood out to me. Now, she plays Lagertha in Vikings and is like hard as nails. But she's also she also has that kind of, I think, like that Baroness quality. And even though she's blonde, obviously that's an easy fix. I mean, Sienna Miller was blonde, so I think she would make for an absolutely superb Baroness. And she's obviously in Wu Assassins at the moment as well, which kind of intrigued me, because I'm like, oh, hang on. So I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I think Catherine Winnick would be great as an actress for any part in the G.I. Joe movie. Like, if she's interested in doing that, I'd love to see her involved, because I think she's brilliant. But I think as the Baroness, I think she could do an absolute job in that department. Do you know who I'm talking about, by the way?
I do, yeah. I mean, I'm not especially familiar with her, but I have seen references to her and seen. I don't know if I've seen her in a whole lot of roles. I have not watched Vikings. I haven't had a chance to catch up on Wu Assassins yet, but the name, and I can picture her face in my head, and I definitely kind of agree with what you're thinking. I think she could definitely pull that off.
Just throwing that out there. If that's right, I've been wrong on a lot of things so far. And funny enough,
keep throwing it out there. You got to be right eventually.
Exactly. Right? That's what we did with the fantasy casting. We had like 17 options for each character, just so we'd be right on some of them, and we still got Koji wrong, and we still said Golding was going to be Storm Shadow. So in any case, we're going to keep doing it anyway. And also, I'm throwing Lewis Tan out there as well, because I think he would probably be one of those characters that I'd like to see.
Oh, sure.
In this film. Another, again, I think he was one that I thought would be a good Storm Shadow. I think we both did actually at the time.
Yep, I remember that. Yeah.
But in any case, we'll bring you all the news as it comes in, like a few hours after you know about it. But Justin, dude, thank you so much for jumping on. I really appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, not a problem.
It's getting exciting, isn't it?
Oh, really exciting. I'm getting pretty fired up.
And with that, we'll leave Justin to on the side of the road. That's it for this instalment of the Full Force News Burst. Thank you to my awesome co-host Justin Bell. See you next time, and as always, Full Force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always, you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter at The Full Force, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Full Force, and if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback or questions. We have also started a Patreon page, so if you want to see your name up in lights on these videos or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.